UFC 312 is tomorrow night. I want to break down the full card, giving my full predictions, right? You know, the method of victory, who's going to win. But not just that, guys. I'm going to give you guys a bet you guys can go put down. Something that I thought was, you know, a little bit more valuable, I guess you could say. Like something that was a little bit hidden in the props, just so you guys can get a good bet. I usually do this live, but honestly, I have not been able to go live as much just because of school schedule. Of course, you know, I got to go to school. I can't do this full time yet. You guys need to support me more because, man, you know, you guys need to share these videos, because then I could be doing the live streams. I could be live all the time, not have to worry about anything else. But I got stuff to worry about, guys. It's going to be a little bit more of a different style video, more of me just talking and going through the whole card with you guys. So if you guys are new here, hit the subscribe button. And yeah, I mean, there was a video earlier today. Go check that out too. A little bit more of a regularly edited video. I will be going live Sunday reacting to the picks that I picked here. So you guys can go check out, you know, that on Sunday. I believe it's like 4 p.m. Eastern. I will be going live reacting to the picks, seeing where I went wrong, as well as reacting to the whole card. But I want to get into this, guys, because this card, yes, it is not the most stacked. I think a lot of people aren't happy, including myself, because look, I mean, this was an Australian card. We were expecting maybe Jack Della Maddalena, Kamaru Usman was at one point in talks for this card. Unfortunately, it didn't get done. Outside of the main and co-main event, I mean, at this point, there is not much fights to be excited about. And I've made predictions. Well, I haven't made predictions yet. This is my prediction, but I've talked about the card at length before, and I've talked about the press conference and a reaction video, all this, and in preparation today, this is the time to get prepared. And we already have some drama as Park Hyun Sung and the Naim Jagra. I can't even pronounce this, but you guys know what fight I'm talking about. This fight is off because of weight issues, right? Apparently, Naim Jagra, he apparently had weight issues, was not even able to weigh in. So yeah, one fight is off the card already, the first fight of the night. So I was actually going to go with Naim Jagra. I once again, I can't pronounce his name, guys. I'm really sorry. I mean, but the first fight I want to get into is Quillan Salkilld versus Anshul Jubl. All right, now this fight is a fight at lightweight, guys. I'm gonna go with Quillan via sub. I'm gonna get into a little bit of reasons why, but look, Quillan, I think he's going to win this one. I think sub might throw a lot of people off because I think most people might figure, hey, he could win by decision, maybe by knockout. Why is it sub? Well, he's got 3 subs in his career, okay, and I think that you know, there's a huge chance for him to win, and I think he's well, I know he is. He's grapple heavy. He has a good background in judo. He's a very tall fighter for the division, but so is Anshul Jubl, right? This is one of the first UFC fighters from India. I think it's actually just the second, and he has a long layoff, right? It was because he wanted to recover from injuries. He's been gone for a while, and he has decent boxing. I think the length is going to be good, but once again, him and, you know, Quillan, they're both the same size. They're both used to being taller, so it's 2 tall lightweights going at it. It's going to be a good fight, I think, and I think it's going to lead to a lot of good exchanges, but my theory is I think Quillan is just going to go for the grappling. It makes the most sense, and credit to the UFC, because I thought they would try to build up a guy like Anshul Jubl, especially with them starting to, you know, open up new territories in India. It seems like the UFC is making a push towards India, especially with that whole rumored Conor McGregor fight that was going to take place in India. It seems like it's the smart move. You're, you know, building a business inside India that is an untapped market with a huge population, and you could have a star there. Look, I'm getting too ahead of myself. I think Anshul Jubl is going to lose this. I think he's going to get taken down. I think he will eventually get subbed in the second round. In the bet, if I were going to give you guys a bet to put down, I'd say Quillan via sub. That is plus 215. And like I said, he's had a few fights where he's won submission by, so it's not that crazy of a thought. And you know, Anshul Jubl is mostly a striker anyway, so I could see him getting taken down, getting controlled, and getting submitted at some point within that 15 minutes. And I'm going to move on to the next fight. I'm excited for that fight. Now, that's the opening fight to UFC 312 now that the other fight got canceled. But I want to talk about Jonathan Micallef versus Kevin Jousset. All right, now, once again, I'm butchering these names. All right, guys, I'm sorry to any fighter that's watching this, and I'm butchering your name right now. But yeah, this fight, I am going to be going with Kevin Jousset. I think most people probably agree with me here. I'm going to go with decision. And look, Jonathan, he's a good grappler, right? And he's got great submission ability. I'm not going to take that away from him. But I think that Kevin is just really good at range. And I think he's also got the UFC experience to back him up. And look, he did get beaten by guys like JDM. He has experience against top-level guys. This was actually before the UFC. And yeah, his last fight was against Brian Battle. And Brian Battle isn't even bad. And he's fought also guys like Song Kanan, I believe, right? That's the guy's name who gave Ian Gary problems. So this is a guy who has consistently fought top-level dudes and has that experience. I think that is going to be a huge difference maker here. I got him by decision. My bet, if I were to give you guys a bet, I would say that the fight goes to a decision. That's minus 135. I didn't really find anything too crazy, but I think Kevin's going to control it. I think he'll defend the takedowns, and I think he is going to win by decision. That is just my bet. But the next fight I want want to talk about is the lightweight fight between Rong and Kody Steele. I got Steele by decision, okay? Now, look, Rong, he's a really good boxer. Both guys are a really good boxer. And I think this might surprise a lot of people because I believe Steele is the underdog. I'm not 100% sure right now. But, yeah, look, Rong and both guys have really good hands, both good knockout power. But I think, you know, that the experience side does go to Rong. I think that, you know, the fact that he has like about 30 fights at just 24 years old is insane to me. And I just saw that he had trouble weighing in. I think he was one of the last guys to weigh in. Not sure if that'll affect things. I mean, we've seen guys weigh in last and everything's been fine. And I think, look, I think that the key here is going to be Steele mixing up the takedowns, mixing up the grappling, mixing it up with the boxing. And I think he's going to be able to win a lot of rounds that way. I think he's going to be able to steal some rounds. And for that, I am going to go with Kody Steele by decision. I think it's going to delay some things with the takedown, getting up, trying to defend takedowns, etc. And yeah, I'm going to say, if I were to give you guys a bet, Kody Steele to win over 1.5 is plus 100. Not bad. You're basically doubling your money or something like that. So, and decision is a bit of a bold bet. I'll admit it is a tough one. I know probably people don't want to, you know, just especially me. I hate betting when it comes to like, oh, look, this guy's going to win in 1.5. This guy's going to win over 1.5, because then I'm just stressing the whole fight, just watching it. Like, oh my God, can these guys please just end the fight? Or I'm just raging. I don't even know. Or I'm having a heart attack with every punch that lands. But in this case, in this particular case, you got two bantamweights. Traditionally, the smaller weight classes do tend to go to a decision, so it's not the craziest idea, and that would be my bet here. I mean, there could be a finish very well, but hey, I'm going to go with decision. I feel rather confident, but you never know. Next fight I want to break down is a fight that I am really excited about, which is Colby Thicknesse versus Aleksandre Topuria, which is obviously Ilia Topuria's brother. I'm going to go with Topuria via second round knockout. And look, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, Topuria doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. That Aleksandre Topuria, of course, doesn't deserve to be in the UFC because he has a 5-1 record. And obviously Topuria, one of the biggest things about him is he's undefeated. And Aleksandre is actually the older brother of Ilia Topuria, funny enough. And yeah, he was supposed to fight someone else. Colby had to step in on short notice. Colby's actually a guy that, you know, I think everybody knows this at this point, but he trains with Volkanovski. Volkanovski's going to be in his corner. He's a long, rangy guy, and I actually think he has some potential to beat Topuria. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think he can beat Topuria. I don't think that's the craziest thought in the world. There's a lot of things that I'm a little bit hesitant about, which is what I'm going to get into in a second, but I do think that he has a chance. I think that he's long, rangy. I think if he uses his teeps, he has a good ground game too, good rear naked choke, good jiu-jitsu all around, and is coming off of 3 first-round finishes in a row, guys. That is insane. This is his UFC debut. My big thing is he did take this on short notice. If he comes in with some confidence, perhaps he could actually cause some problems. And look, Topuria's brother is also very good. He's very similar to Ilia Topuria in the way that he moves and the way that he fights. Obviously, I think Topuria is better. Of course, Topuria is going to be better. He's just faced better competition, has way more experience, and his only loss that he does have that one loss, but it was a fight that he was winning. It was a fight that he gassed out at. He shot too many takedowns. I don't really think that's something that we're going to be like, oh, never mind. This guy's never going to make it. He's a fraud. He doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. No, I'm still excited to see where he goes. And that was also, I believe, like 10 years ago. That's another thing people don't realize. This was like 10 years ago. And I mean, think about MMA alone 10 years ago. How much like there wasn't like enough education on MMA 10 years ago as there was now. There's not as much, I should say, not enough, but there wasn't as much as there is today because, you know, now there's YouTube. Well, YouTube was back then, but you know what I'm saying? Like now you can watch YouTube videos about it. There's just way more YouTube videos about it. There's more personalities, bigger fights. I mean, the list goes on why it's a bigger sport and why there's more information and more experience you can get nowadays compared to 10 years ago. But point is, guys, how I see this fight going, I think it's going to stay on the feet. I think that Topuria is going to maybe try to take him down in the first round, and maybe he does, but I do think that Colby could survive on the ground. I could be wrong. Topuria does have a lot of finishes with ground and pound on the ground, and potentially could also get a submission. I mean, both guys are very good at jiu-jitsu, both Topuria brothers, and also Colby's good at jiu-jitsu. So that's why I don't think he's going to get a sub. My prediction is I think that Topuria is going to hold him down, probably get a takedown in round 2, maybe slow it down at the beginning of round 1, end of round 1, get a takedown and say, you know what, maybe this isn't exactly the best method of victory, especially keep in mind Topuria has gassed out, like I said, from shooting. That was his only loss. So maybe if he feels like he can't finish him on the ground, he fears a little bit, if he's gonna gas, and he says, all right, you know, I'm gonna stand up, and I think he's gonna get a knockout that way. That is my prediction. I could be wrong though, because like I said, I think if this Colby guy really does move around, you know, use his teeps, use the range, and get Topuria really struggling on the outside, and I still think the same thing for Ilia Topuria. I think that's one of his weaknesses, and that's what's going to be someone beating him. But with Aleksandre Pantoja, or not Aleksandre Pantoja, Aleksandre Topuria, I should say, it's the same thing here. If you keep him at range, I think that's going to be a big problem, especially for a guy like especially like a guy like Aleksandre Topuria, who doesn't have experience getting on the inside. I got Topuria by second round knockout. The bet I picked though was Aleksandre Topuria to win under 1.5 rounds. So this is halfway through the fight, plus 110, which I thought were pretty decent odds, especially because I think most people probably figure the fight's going to end by a finish. But you never know. I'm not super confident in the finish either, but I think this is a decent bet. If you really want to go crazy, maybe if you feel like that's risky, do 2.5. But you could probably play around with it and figure it out. But the next fight is Wang Cong versus Bruna, Brasil. Now, Wang Cong is a legend on the channel. Why? Well, last time I watched her fight, I was live on the channel, and it was like, what? It was early in the morning. It was like we started streaming like 5 in the morning. It was for that UFC Shanghai card where Wang Cong was winning the fight, and she was a massive underdog, and as a joke on stream I placed the bet, and yeah, this was my reaction to her winning. Little head kick. Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god. She's out of conscious. Oh my god. So my prediction is going to be Kang Wang to win, right? And I think she's gonna win by knockout, guys. I've seen a lot of people say decision. I'm going with knockout, guys. Look, Kong has great striking. She comes from a kickboxing background, famously beat Valentina Shevchenko in a kickboxing match, and still has that win. And who knows, maybe we'll see that rematch down the line. But she has knockout power. Her first UFC fight, she knocked out a girl, and while she lost her last fight, she was winning the whole time. She looked good, honestly. I didn't think she looked bad. It just, look, she got caught. She literally like caught with a right hand or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, and got choked out. I mean, look, it happens, especially when you're someone like Wang Cong. You know, this is your second UFC fight. You know, you're in your home country, a lot of pressure, you know, against a big underdog who did she fight again? I don't even remember. Gabriel Fernandez, I think. She was a massive underdog, and look, probably overlooked her. And I think that's really it. I don't think it really says much about her skill. And I think with Bruna Brasil, my main worry about her, I know she's been training with the fight nerds and all that, is she can easily get backed up. I mean, she backs up a lot, and I think if you're backing up against a really good striker like Wang Cong, all that's going to do is let Cong set up a really good strike and potentially get a finish. But I think if Brasil is able to mix up the grappling and able to shoot takedowns and get Wang Cong going backwards and let Wang Cong follow the pace of the fight, and if Brasil can say to herself, hey, I control this fight, if Brasil at any point in the fight could say, oh, look, I'm deciding if this is striking, if this is grappling, that's a huge advantage, because Cong is really good at the striking. That's obviously, she's an expert in striking. So if you could take that away and get her off her game, that would be big. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think Cong is probably going to pressure her. And she seemed really good in the grappling defensively. So I think she'll be able to handle herself. My prediction is going to be, yeah, Cong via TKO. I would say, guys, if you guys want any bet, you guys probably bet like, Wang Cong to win by finish. I'm seeing it's plus 165. But even at the end of it, you could do by knockout, because odds are she probably isn't going to get a submission and probably isn't going to get disqualified. But yeah, so I probably guess by knockout. And but that I always get paranoid though, like putting on a bet where it's like, oh, by knockout or by submission, because I always know, like, in my head, if I fucking see the person, you know, finish the fight and it's not by the way I bet, I'm like pissed, because I'm like, dude, I should have just done it and it would have been a little bit less. Most of the time it is a little bit less. Like this, like probably knockout is probably, I would probably guess plus 175, because I think that's probably, like, nobody thinks she's gonna get a submission, so it's probably around the same odds anyway. You could save yourself the stress, or you can go big or go home. That's up to you guys. I mean, that's really whatever you guys want to think. And next fight is at lightweight, Tom Nolan versus Viacheslav Borshchev, which I was actually pretty impressed with how I just pronounced that name, to be honest, because I've been butchering all these names. I was just about to say, once again, sorry, but no, we don't need to apologize. Hopefully I could say everybody's name from now on. Hopefully we just had a rough beginning. And if you guys are still here, guys, comment in the comment section below. I really do appreciate all y'all watching. I know this is a little bit of a different upload, a different feel, but hey, that's what we do here, man. We're trying out new formats. So like I said, Tom Nolan, Viacheslav Borshchev. My pick for this, I'm going to go with Tom Nolan. I know this is, I believe Tom Nolan is an underdog. I'm not sure how big. I'm pretty sure he's an underdog. And I know people are like, people might be like, oh, what are you talking about? You know, Viacheslav is, you know, I mean, I don't think anybody would really say that he's been on a tear, you know, but he hasn't looked particularly all bad. He's had a few good performances. Obviously didn't look good against Chase Hooper, but Tom Nolan's no Chase Hooper. And crazy Chase Hooper also is fighting Jim Miller. I mean, that is such a, like, we're criticizing Chase Hooper fighting old dudes, so let's get the fucking oldest guy in the UFC. But anyway, Tom Nolan, yeah, so, like, I think Tom Nolan's going to win. I think he's got nice kicks. He has really good pressure, which I think is the key here for him winning. And I think Viacheslav, Borshchev, obviously, I think the key here for him is the grappling, right? I mean, and I just don't think that that he's gonna be able to hang with him on the feet. And I think that him getting pressed, it's gonna, you know, I think he's gonna get a takedown in the beginning. Maybe we secure the first round. I think after that, we're gonna see Nolan keep putting pressure on, and I think we're gonna see Viacheslav have trouble taking him down. I'm kind of going back and forth, honestly, even talking about this fight. I could see why people are picking Borshchev, but I'm going to stick with it. Tom Nolan by decision is what I'm thinking. The bet I picked is Tom Nolan to win and over 1.5. Just because I don't think there's any possibility that Tom Nolan's going to get a finish under that. So I'm like, look, you might as well just cash it in. Tom Nolan's an underdog, so if you want to just bet Tom Nolan money line, that's also fine. But if you had the over 1.5, I don't think it's going to go under 1.5. So I think this is just, I don't want to say free money because obviously anything could happen, but it just is a good bonus you could add to it. And because it's most likely, in my opinion, I think going to go over 1.5. And both guys are known for going a little bit longer. Both guys have gone to decision multiple times, and at this point, and so I could definitely see it going over 1.5. I think that would be it's a good bet. But if you want to do money line, I understand too, because look, I can get a little anxious myself and be like, oh my god, like I'm always afraid I'm gonna get too greedy. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like, look, like Tom Nolan, you would get money for that, but over 1.5, or am I just being greedy? I don't know. We'll find out in our review on Sunday. Anyway, though, for the featherweight division, we're going to move on. This is the prelim headliner, actually, and then we're going to get into the main card. Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. This is another one that I'm picking the underdog, I believe, maybe. I'm going to go with Jack Jenkins, though. I think he's going to win by, I think he's going to win by decision. I think Jack Jenkins has looked really good. I think that I was surprised he was an underdog, because I actually think he is pretty good. He has great feints. And I think that those feints really set up his opportunities to set up strikes. And we've seen that before. Like, even just little things I see him do. He hasn't had necessarily like this huge moment, but you could tell watching him fight that he's thinking constantly. And he's always thinking, okay, what could I do to better my position? What could I do to open up my opponent? And you can see that he's also paying attention to what his opponent does and making adjustments based on that. And I think that he is extremely dangerous in that way, because those are the most dangerous types of guys. Alex Pereira, for example, a guy that'll watch your mistakes, find your weakness and go after it. That's what he's gonna do. Did it against Strickland with the left hook, opening up that left hook, and has done it up for a lot of other people too. But that's a side note. I think I'm not saying Jack Jenkins is Alex Pereira by any means, but I'm just saying I think could definitely has an eye for paying attention to these type of things. And Gabriel Santos, he definitely has a path to victory, and I understand too why he might be a favorite, because I thought he looked very good in his last fight against Yizha. I think that's his name, that he fought last, and he has really good grappling, not even just decent grappling, I was about to say, but really good grappling. He trains with Charles Oliveira, and I think that's why a lot of people are going at Gabriel Santos is the grappling, which is something that I am worried about too, because I think if Gabriel Santos is going to win, it most likely is going to be by sub. It could be by decision too, but it could be a sub. And that's very likely. I could very well see this happening. However, I think Jenkins, he's going to control the fight. I think he's going to keep the fight on the feet most of the time, and I think he's going to be able to be the better striker for sure. I think he'll for sure be the better striker, and I could even see a Jenkins KO potentially. Like I said, I think Jenkins is dangerous. He could set up good knockouts, but I'm going to go with decision. The bet, though, I'm going to tell you guys, because you guys might be like, Jack's tripping for picking Gabriel Santos. Well, I got a good bet for you guys, because I'm going to pick Jack. So this is like how this works is essentially, if one of these things happen, you get your money. So Jack Jenkins to win by decision, or Gabriel Santos to win by submission, which is a plus 125. So like I said, these are the two most likely outcomes in my opinion. Jack Jenkins by decision, Gabriel Santos by sub. It's plus 125 plus money. I think it's a good deal, because at the end of the day, you're getting benefit. You know what I mean? You're getting plus, so why not? And you get 2 outcomes. It covers you both ways. And odds are, I think the odds are in the favor of the fight probably going that way. I mean, there could be a knockout. That's possible. But it gives us a better chance of picking one. Let's put it that way. But we're going to move on to the pay-per-view. We're finally on the pay-per-view. Main card opener. The fight we've all been waiting for. Jack Matthews versus Francisco Prado. That is not the fight we've all been waiting for. But, hey, why not? You know what I mean? But Jake Matthews is someone that I do like to watch. I think he's actually underrated. I think he's got great boxing, great body shots. And like I said, I mean, he is only 29. He's been in the UFC for like 10 years at this point or something like that. Maybe a little less. But, you know, about a very long time. It could honestly be 10 years at this rate. I think he's like 29, 30, something like this. And yeah, and he's just getting better and better. And I am confident. I am going out there to say I'm confident Jake Matthews is going to win. And I actually have a pretty bold bet, and I'm going to get into this in a second because I want to tell you guys, I think there's a glitch in the mainframe here, man, because as soon as I saw this, I put down my money. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I got to take this line, but we're going to get into it. Francisco has faced guys like Daniel Zellhuber and Jamie Malarkey in his career. And he was at lightweight in his last fight. He's moving up to welterweight, which I thought was a bit odd because I thought Daniel Zellhuber looked a lot bigger than Francisco in the last fight, or not last fight, but whatever time they fought. Not last fight, but whatever, you guys know what I mean. Whenever the last time they fought was, I thought that Huber looked a lot bigger, and yeah. So I don't know if moving up to 170 is a good idea. I know he's fought at 170 before, especially on the regional scene. But I understand the regional scene because look, if you're on the regional scene, you don't really pick and choose your fights. Like you get a call, hey, can you fight in 3 weeks? You got to say yeah, otherwise you're waiting God knows how long. So I understand you saying, look, I'm going to fight a little bit heavier so I can, cut weight faster and not have to worry about weight all the time. But you're in the UFC. I think it's time to move the lightweight. They got the best PI. They got the best staff for dieting and weight cutting. I mean, I don't understand this. I think that it would just benefit him a lot. But I'm going to go with Jake via second round knockout. I think Jake is just going to piece him up. I'd be surprised if Jake lost. And I bet on this, guys. And I'm not kidding you guys. I'm not fucking with you. This is the line. Jake Matthews. I picked Jake Matthews to win by KO, TKO, or DQ. Plus 500. Plus 500, guys. Put that 500. That is insane. And I understand people might say, oh, Jack, come on. Like he's not going to win by knockout. I'm not even trying to sit here and say, oh, he's for sure winning by knockout. Would I be surprised to see Jake Matthews win a decision on tomorrow night? Absolutely not. I would not be surprised. That is totally likely. But it's just to have this at plus 500, like there's no fucking shot. I mean, come on. Like, Jake Matthews has knockouts. Like, if you have knockouts, like, plus 500 is a pretty crazy deal. That's my opinion. I think I'm going. I went for it. As soon as I saw it, I said, count me in. I'm ready to go. And I will be rooting for Jake Matthews. The second fight on the pay-per-view is Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato, which is a fight that I'm actually really excited for. I'm excited to see both guys. I'm excited to see Jimmy Crute come back. Obviously, last time he had it a little bit rough. For those of you guys that don't know, because it's probably been so long, he fought last time this guy fought. You guys won't believe this. The last time this guy fought, Volkanovski didn't even defend his title against Yair Rodriguez. It was the anticipated rematch between him and Alonzo Menifield, and yeah, he fought Alonzo. And lost the fight via guillotine and seemingly retired, took off his gloves, seemed super upset, and hasn't fought since, but now he's coming back. That does worry me off the bat because, look, obviously everybody gets upset. I'm not saying you can't be upset, but you got to wonder, like, what has he been up to these past few years? I mean, has he been trained? I'm sure he's trained a lot, but I'm saying there definitely was probably a period of time where he wasn't training. There probably was a period of time where he's, and fuck all that. What about your confidence? Where's your confidence at going into this fight? You're about to go into a big fight, and where's your confidence at? I heard him saying that he said he found God in these past 2 years, so maybe that could help him in terms of confidence. Like, if you really believe, yeah, look, God has my back, that could help you out 1,000% if you truly believe that. But at the same time, I would probably, unless you're downright insane, you probably would be still a bit nervous. You know what I mean? Because yeah, like you've been finished a bunch of times in a row now. You're obviously gonna probably be a little nervous going into the fights. But yeah, so Crude, I don't like where he's at, and I think Rodolfo's gonna win by decision, guys. I think, look, Rodolfo, he showed in his debut. This guy has heart. I mean, this guy, you have to, if you're going to finish him, you really got to go after him. He's been out of the octagon for a decent amount of time, about over a year at this point. Not as long as Jimmy Crute, but about over a year. And yeah, no, he's back. And look, and I think Rodolfo is going to win. I think it's a close fight. I would not be surprised to see Jimmy Crute win this one. This one was a very tough one to pick because I don't think there's any one that I could really say, oh, this is definitively going to happen. But I think the fight's going to go to a decision, mainly because I think they're going to clinch up. It'll delay the time, and both guys are known to clinch up a bit. And I think it's going to come down to who has more heart, who wants this more. And if you're asking me that, is it the guy who, came back in his last fight after almost being finished numerous times? Or is it the other guy who lost his fight via guillotine, retired, probably was distraught after, and God knows what else. Personally, if it's down to heart, I'm going to go with Rodolfo just because of what I've seen. And the bet that I chose is over 1.5, minus 140. It's minus. I think this might be the first minus that I put in this video. So I'm sorry, guys. There just wasn't a lot of choices. Maybe if you guys really want to, you could do fight goes to a decision. You could do you could do over 2.5. That's all up to you. Risk as you will. At the end of the day, it's a heavyweight fight, or a light heavyweight fight, I should say. So I didn't really want to risk all that. So I chose 1.5, minus 140. Still pretty good deal, honestly, for 1.5, I thought. Next fight, though, we're getting to the featured bout, one of the best fights of the card. If you guys can't tell, I've been sarcastic with every single one. Justin Tafa versus Taliesin Teixeira, the son of Glover Teixeira. No, I'm kidding, guys. This is gonna be a good one. But I'm gonna go with Taliesin Teixeira. This one is a tough one to pick, honestly. I do think this one is one of the most 50-50 fights on this whole card. That's my opinion. I know I said the last one was 50-50. The last one is 50-50, but this one is, well, the last one's not 50-50. That's like 60-40. This is 50-50. This is straight down the middle. I think it's going to come down to whoever lands the first clean shot. That's just what I think. I think Tafa has got really good knockout power. I think the thing that gives Teixeira the edge, in my opinion, is while he also has good knockout power, and he might not have as much experience, that also means he doesn't have as much damage. But Tafa also doesn't have that much experience or damage either. I mean, I would say more damage to Teixeira. But Teixeira also has one-shot knockout power, which Tafa does have, but not as much as I think Teixeira has. I mean, we've seen Teixeira put out guys with one shot. Tafa usually does put out guys, but then a little bit of ground and pound. But we've seen Teixeira put out guys cold, like dead-ass cold. So, and I think that the difference maker here, though, I mean to say, Teixeira's kicks. I think that's going to be the difference maker. We've seen Tafa kind of struggle a little bit with kicks. Nothing like that he's lost, but it's just sometimes he'll actually dip into one. And I think that if Teixeira keeps at range and is able to keep, especially at kicking range, kick the legs, set up kicks, set up high kicks, he could get a finish at some point in this fight. That's what I predict. I think Taliesin Teixeira is going to get a knockout in the first round. At the end of the first round, maybe in the beginning of the second. And my bet that I'm going to give you guys, Taliesin Teixeira to win in rounds 1 or 2, plus 100. You get plus 100 money for that, at least the time that I got it. And I think that's pretty fair. It's a heavyweight fight, and to bet that they're gonna, to double your money, basically, that these heavyweights are gonna knock each other out or finish each other, really, in any way, within the first 2 rounds. That's not a bad bet. That's not at all a bad bet. And it's just to win, not even a knockout. So that's a pretty safe bet, in my opinion. Though you never know. And we're finally at one of my more anticipated fights of the card. I would say, probably, I guess, the second, honestly. I mean, I would say I'm pretty much excited for the main and co-main event equally, but it's Weili Zhang Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. I don't know what's up. When they're Chinese, why do they interswitch their names? Is someone going to explain that to me in the comment section below? A lot of these Chinese names are, switched. I believe also, who else was on the card that was like that? Or Rong Shu or something like this? Yeah, Rong Shu. Yeah, he was like this as well, that they switch around the names. If someone could explain that. But whatever, guys. My prediction for this one, it's going to be, you ready for this, guys? It's going to be Weili by TKO. KO. Yeah, guys, I gave it to you guys. Pause, but pause, but no, I know that might surprise a lot of people. A lot of people, I'm sure, would probably say, "Oh, decision." I said this in another video. I kind of already let the cat out of the bag here. I've talked about this before. I'd be shocked if Tatiana Suarez won, to be quite honest with you guys. I don't really see I could eat my words, guys, and I'm laughing because I'm just thinking, like, yeah, I might eat my words on saying this. I don't see a method of victory for Tatiana. Is Tatiana an amazing wrestler? Absolutely. Is she a great grappler? Absolutely. I think something that could help her too is her length, how tall she is. She's taller than, well, really, I guess I should say how short Weili is, but she has the length advantage, and she uses her kicks nicely, especially when it comes to that, and has very nicely timed takedowns. It's not just the takedowns, also the timing. She's patient with it. She isn't overdoing it, and has crazy finishing ability. I mean, that's all true for Tatiana. But this is her 10th fight. She has had tons of injuries throughout the past few years. And let's not forget, Weili isn't no bum. Weili's been a champ for a long time now. I mean, she first won the belt in 2019. It is now 2025, so we're coming on 6 years of Weili winning the belt. That's insane. Yes, she did lose to Rose briefly in between those years, but still, I mean, overall, she's been more dominant than not in these past years, and also sucks that she fights like once a year. That's another thing that kind of is a stain on her legacy to why she's not as popular or as given as much credit as she maybe deserves. Because look, she has a lot of good performances. I thought the Carla Esparza performance was good. Thought her last performance against Yan Xiaonan, I should say. I mixed up the names. Yan Xiaonan. That was a good performance, even though she did struggle a little bit. I thought Weili did gas, but I thought it was good for her to learn that lesson in that fight than this fight. I think that Weili will take that lesson and say, I got to be patient, because if she gasses, that's not going to be good. I think Weili is going to be able to defend the takedowns. I mean, she's been working on her wrestling since that fight with Rose. I mean, remember, she went to Henry Cejudo in Arizona to learn, and ever since then, she's been learning still. And she has 5-round experience. I mean, and she's been looking really good lately. She did gas out in her last fight, which does worry me a little bit, because if she gasses out in this fight, like I said, I don't think that's going to be good. I said that earlier. Don't think that's going to be good for her, but I don't think so. I think she's learned her lesson, and my prediction is, yeah, Weili by TKO or KO. I would say to you guys, the bet to make is Weili inside the distance, which is plus 250, which is insane. Plus 250 for someone that has finishes, has dropped, a lot of girls at 115, has a lot of power for 115. I mean, remember, she finished Jessica Andrade in the first round. And finished Carla Esparza in the second round via submission. And I think that how I see this fight going is, I think that Suarez is going to come out, and I think she's going to control Weili pretty early on. And I think that, but I think that she'll wind up gassing. I think Weili is going to be able to defend a lot of the takedowns, get up, and I think that's going to inevitably gas out Suarez. I think Suarez is going to lose, and I think Suarez is going to take this as a learning lesson. I'm not saying that Suarez is trash. I think Suarez is going to take this as a learning lesson to only get better. I think it's just too soon. I mean, she was supposed to fight in a #1 contenders fight last fight, and then that fight got canceled, I think, because she pulled out. Now she's the #1 contender. Doesn't really make sense. And look, I understand there's not a lot going on at strawweight. She doesn't necessarily deserve it so much. Am I mad about it? No, I'm not going to be, up in arms about it, but I definitely don't think it's an amazing fight. And in terms of like right now, I think this fight would be better if Suarez had a little bit more experience, maybe one more fight. I think this fight would be a little bit better. And maybe I'm hating too much, because honestly, I am still excited for this fight, but we'll see. I think Weili, though, is going to win. I'm pretty confident. I'm surprised that Weili's an underdog in money line. Like, can someone explain this to me? That makes no sense. Suarez with 10, what do we just love the undefeated, the 0? I mean, that's what happened with Umar as well. We all loved the 0, and then he lost. Except for me, I predicted that Merab was going to win, but, a lot of people predicted Umar. Middleweight, the main event. A lot of people want to know my opinion. I haven't really given my prediction at all for this. 5 rounds. Last time we had this fight, it was last January. Strickland. I scored it for Strickland. And I feel like there's a lot of revisionist history. Hold on to your gums. Hold on to your butts. Because here's the thing, guys. I'm going with Sean Strickland. I'm going with Sean Strickland via decision. And I already hear the comments. I already hear it, because I already know there's going to be people saying, Jack, what are you doing? Are you just did you just waste, I don't even know how long I've been recording for, waste all this time just to fool us? No, that's not what I did. I actually am going to pick Strickland by decision. I'm going to tell you guys why. Because I feel like there's a lot of revisionist history when we're talking about the last fight. At the end of the day, I thought that Strickland did pretty decent. I thought that he had a lot of good moments against Dricus du Plessis, especially early on. Dricus did very good as well. I'm not taking anything away from Dricus. I just think that Sean had a lot of good moments. It was a competitive fight. I scored it for Sean, and so did a lot of people. Like, this isn't like, oh, I'm not some Sean Strickland fanboy either. Like, I could care less who wins, honestly, tomorrow. I'm not really necessarily a huge fan of either guy. I'm just more like, look, I'm excited to see who Khamzat's going to fight. And I honestly would rather Khamzat face Dricus du Plessis. I think that's a more interesting fight. So if anything, I'd be biased towards Dricus. This isn't coming out of bias. This is just purely me analyzing it. I think Strickland's going to win. I think Strickland's going to press forward. I know that he didn't really press forward so much last fight, but he was able to control it even going backwards. He didn't fall apart. So even him going backwards, I think is going to be good. I think he's going to shoot more takedowns. It seems like he's been hinting at it a little bit this week, and I think that's something really good. I mean, like I said, Dricus, one of the best things he did in the last fight was back Sean Strickland up. If he could back up Sean Strickland and trap the octagon and really put on a lot of pressure, then yeah, Sean Strickland's fucked, because Sean Strickland against the cage, that's not going to be good. He can't stay against the cage, but Sean Strickland usually has good enough footwork. He's able to circle around or at least follow his opponent, even if it's not the best in terms of trapping his opponent. He could at least follow his opponent and stay off the cage. And to be honest, I thought that du Plessis in his last fight, he didn't look bad. I won't say he looked bad, but because obviously he beat Adesanya, but he didn't look as good as he did against Strickland. He didn't look as good as he did against Robert Whittaker. Now, one could argue because he fought Adesanya, and maybe Adesanya is a tougher matchup. My theory on that, though, is honestly, I think Dricus du Plessis just thought it'd be way too easy to take down Adesanya and got too aggressive in the grappling and gassed out in that round 3, because him and Adesanya are both tired in round 3. They both took a round off, which is something Strickland's not going to do. So du Plessis cannot gas himself up or gas himself off, or what is it? Gas himself? I don't even know now. I'm losing words. I don't do any of those things, but don't gas out is what I should say. Don't gas himself out. And Strickland is the worst guy to do that too, because Strickland has unlimited cardio. All he does is spar. All he does is fight. This is just what his body knows. This is as easy to him as breathing. Maybe not in terms of skill, but in terms of cardio and tiredness and all things like that. So yeah, if he stops at round 3, that's not gonna work for Strickland. Strickland's gonna just run him down. And I thought, like I said, Dricus did a good job at controlling Strickland. If he can control Strickland, control the takedowns, control the striking, and when each thing is happening, he will do good. And I think that he also had really good feints as well in the last fight. And I saw Dricus in the last fight trying to set up the high kick. He should definitely go back to that. That's something that is definitely open for Sean Strickland, especially if maybe Sean Strickland, being the boxer he is, dips his head into the head kick. We've seen that before with Usman and other fighters as well, them dip their head into a head kick. If Dricus could set that up, that would definitely be something. And I don't think that Dricus is going to be able to wrestle Sean Strickland for 25 minutes or a long time at all, because it seems like that Dricus, I think his weakness is the grappling, and he seems to gas out when he grapples. I mean, if you notice, he didn't gas out really in the Robert Whittaker fight. Why? Didn't really grapple that much. I mean, he got that like hip toss, and that was about it. And then you look at the Sean Strickland fight. Yeah, he took him down, I think, in round 2. I think he got 6 takedowns or something like that. But, I mean, outside of that, there were more pauses in between there. It wasn't so much chain wrestling. But with Adesanya, it was a lot of controlling, a lot of holding down, a lot of effort. So du Plessis, I don't think I don't think it's good for him to do that. I think he's going to wind up gassing himself up, and I think he's going to, I keep saying gassing himself up like he's fucking big up in himself. But you guys know what I'm trying to say. Gassing himself out. And this is why I edit the videos, by the way. This is why I fucking do little cuts, because I fuck up all the time. And like I said, if Strickland has volume, just puts the volume on du Plessis, and I think he should look for feints too, Sean Strickland. And like I said, I can't believe how this guy is being overlooked right now. Look, Sean Strickland, he's not, I'm not saying he's my fucking best friend, but the fact that we're acting like he's some bum he's like, I think Dricus is minus 200. The fight was fucking 50-50 last time. It really could have gone either way. Maybe there's another judges, it goes Sean Strickland's way. And I think people might look at me and say, oh, Jack, I'm delusional. I'm not delusional. This was what everybody was saying at the time. It was a split decision. And it's crazy for me, because I actually wrote this down because I wanted to talk about this. I just saw DC say that Dricus du Plessis might have won the first fight 4-1. Is that not crazy? Is that not crazy? What are you talking about? Are we having revisionist history? Like, this is what all this is. I understand people don't like Strickland. I could care less about him. In terms of liking him or not, honestly, I don't hate him at all. I honestly think he's a funny guy. He could be too controversial. I wouldn't even say too controversial. It's just like, controversial to the point it's just like, okay, dude, we get it. You're doing it for shock value and whatever. It's not not that I'm offended. It's just like, okay, dude, like I'm not that entertained. But overall, I think Strickland I like, and I like Du Plessis too, honestly. And I think especially if he shoots takedowns, especially he can get the decision, because that's going to gas out Dricus, and that is the key to victory. I think mixing it up, feinting, pushing Dricus backwards, being a little bit more aggressive than you were the first time, because Sean was surprisingly not aggressive last time. And I think that had to do with Du Plessis. Du Plessis was just doing a good job at preventing that. Yeah, so I think if he adds the volume, adds the takedowns, and is able to control the fight a little bit better, Sean Strickland, he can get the win. Another thing to keep in mind is in the middle of that last fight, he got a cut like on his eyelid, and he said he wasn't able to see. Now, this isn't me saying, oh, Sean Strickland, this is an excuse. No, I'm not excusing Sean Strickland. I'm not saying this to excuse him. I'm not saying this to say that he shouldn't have lost last fight. You got cut in a fight. Why? Because Du Plessis did that. I don't care. I don't know if it was a headbutt or not. I remember them saying it at the press conference. Don't know whatever the cause was, but it happened. And look, and I think that did play a factor in the fight, because Strickland was doing a lot better before the cut. I think everybody can agree. And in this case, he doesn't get cut. I think that he wins, guys. I think that he does win. And I think that Du Plessis has a chance. Du Plessis, I think, is able to finish Sean Strickland, especially with his punches, especially with his striking. Du Plessis hits hard, and that's always a danger when you're fighting him. However, I think Strickland's going to win. The bet I put is for Sean Strickland to win in round 5 or on decision, which is plus 225. So if Sean Strickland either gets a knockout in the 5th round, which I think is possible if Du Plessis does gas as much as he potentially could, in my opinion, if Sean does mix in a lot more grappling, and there maybe is more grappling exchanges, it could wind up being a situation where Sean finishes him in the 5th round. But I also put decision because I think more likely than not, Strickland is going to win by decision. Just gives you a little bit of a cushion for not that much more. So my prediction is Sean Strickland via decision, guys. I know a lot of you guys might disagree on my picks. Comment in the comment section below what you guys think. This is a very long video. I just saw how long I was recording for. I appreciate all of you guys, seriously, for watching, guys. Tomorrow, this is the fight, so I'm gonna be uploading a video Sunday morning, and on Sunday I will be streaming, and you guys could ask me all questions. Feel free to comment in the comment section below. I will answer. As always, guys, check out my last video that I uploaded earlier today about the Jake Paul Canelo situation. Canelo playing Jake Paul. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.